A related question to what form of government is what amount of freedom the government should have in the life of the citizens. That's the question. What amount of freedom the government or authority the government must have in the lives of the citizens. You know, in communism, they have absolute control. That's a totalitarian form of government. They have absolute. The Politburo has absolute control over every citizen. There is no fundamental right, nothing. So definitely we don't want a communistic form of government. The property is totally owned by the state. Every citizen is a worker and the worker will be paid and the pay will be decided by the government. No appeal, no complaints, nothing. That's the rule in China or in Russia or anywhere where the true form of communism. Now what we have in China is a modified form of communism. They have still retained the name communism, but it basically is a modified form of capitalism with the exception that no religious freedom and there is no freedom of expression and all. But economy, when it comes to economic freedom, it reverted back to capitalism. So it is a communism, grafted with the capitalistic economy. And that's what it is. But communism definitely is, it interferes with the citizens. What about socialism? What about socialism? Under socialism, government and private operate on definite areas decided by the law. It's a mixed system, so they both have. Certain areas of life are governed by government, while certain areas of life by the individuals without interfering in others' lives. Society as a whole control, not the individual. That's a socialism. The society controls, not the individuals. Now the problem with the socialism is really, and the society is more powerful usually than the individual, therefore the society will take more control. The individual's right will always be encroached upon by the society. That's what happened. But socialism is not a bad form of government,
So we are more socialist.
India is a socialism. It's a mixed economy, it's a socialism. But in capitalism, which is more an economic policy than a political philosophy, yet governmental interference is limited to taxation, etc. They believe that the person should be free to use his money the way he wants. He can invest the capital, made business, he can earn profit, and our government can decide the tax, but should not interfere in the business policy of the individual. That's what capitalism. Capitalism, emphasizes the capital that comes from the private individual. Government should not be doing any business, basically. The individuals will. So in capitalism, not society, not government, but the individual ones who are in control. So America is making billionaires and billionaires and billionaires. It's not the society that is, the individual billionaires coming. India, because it is a socialism mixed economy, India is also making millionaires every year. Every year. But the thing is, necessarily our society is not improving. In America, the society is growing equally. Because the private enterprises provides more employment and all. Now in India also it is slowly coming. So in capitalism there is a least involvement of government in the private life of individuals. Though in the last 20-25 years government began to get into the religion and education and other areas, which is not typical of capitalism. In socialism, always government interference will be there. Private party can do business, but only as per the regulations given by the government. In capitalism, no. You do your business. Government won't interfere in it. You do your business. It's yours. Government will say some rules as to the minority. No discrimination of race and color and all that. There is some law like that they will be. But there is another system which is called laissez-faire, Laissez. Laissez, Laissez is a French word, faire, F-A-I-R-E, which means minimum government. Minimum government. Minimum government. But government will not involve in any business or any market. Government will look after maintenance of law and order. That's all government will do. Government will be in charge of police and military and the legal court system. Government will not be involved in any business. It will not be controlling, anybody's business. They will have police and military and the basic court system and passports, printing, currencies, etc., few areas. That's all what the government will look. So that's a French system they have brought in, laissez-faire system, which I think is the best in my opinion. In France it is there, yes, not in the pure form. The French Revolution brought it, but then, they found that if the government is not powerful and interfere, people will exploit one another, then the powerful will be those who are more muscle. They will form a parallel government. But it is still ideal, I think, that if where the people are civilized and cultured and all that, this is, I think the Christian system does not necessarily recommend one system over the other, but overall the spirit is the government should involve minimum. Minimum government is the best government. And the taxation is one area where the government, yes, in the Old Testament, the Jewish government put taxation at 30 to 35%, which is a fair amount. That's the form of tithes and all that, what needs to be given to poor and needy foreigners. Parental care and all somehow calculated comes around 35%, which is a fair amount. Income tax in India and other countries were, around 40%, 30%, But then there is the exemption there. But here no exemption. You have to pay tax on everything that you make, Definitely communism is not Christian because of not only economic system, but because of its political other thing. It's irreligious, anti-religious, and the fundamental rights are not recognized. Citizens don't have any rights. Only the state has rights. Private property is not allowed. The state owns all it. Now China and all is permitting private property because they realize that, state-owned properties, it's not productive. Only private property is productive. Capitalism is a system when individuals could do what he wants with his property. I think taxation is decided. By then we have seen in American capitalism how they have gone beyond their original idea, but now government is interfering in religion, family, marriage and so many things. The government should not be. In the original capitalistic view of government, the government has no business of interfering in those. So they have brought in what they call amendment. I don't know how many amendments they have. So many amendments of the articles. They take away this, take away this. This is wrong. So the laissez-faire, I think it's the best. It's the best. Especially if people, for the Christians that's the best, because Christians generally are law-abiding people. They are exhorted to earn their own living. They are never to live on the charity of the government or anybody else as such. Only the poor need to be supported, but the average person is to work and earn his living. And so laissez-faire is the best because government won't interfere. Government will look after the peace, order, and law and order system. So that's very good that we have, police and military to, secure our frontiers, and police and court to secure any violations there. So that's the one. But in a country like India, that's never going to happen. In a laissez-faire, the Prime Minister will have very little job. The cabinet will have only 1 or 2 ministers. the home ministry and the external ministries, or or just a few departments only. But I still think that's one. So somebody said the story of comparing the socialism and communism and capitalism. They have said the story of a man owning 2 cows. You probably heard it. He had 2 cows. Had the 3 people. One was a capitalist, one was a socialist, the other was a communist. All 3 had 2 cows each. So the communist said, the cow belongs to the state, okay? It's not your cow. Well, you will cut the grass, you will milk the cow and all those things, but you will be paid for it. But we decide what you will get. So what happened? The man stopped taking care of the cow. Very soon the cow died. The government took the hide and the bones, and the story ended there. In socialism, the socialist had 2 cows. So all the society said that, hey, it's not fair that you have 2 cows. It's our cow. It's our cow. So what we do, we'll all bring our grass. You milk the cow, distribute the milk among the whole. So they distributed the milk. So everybody got little by little milk, And then the day came when the cow they were not giving any more. So they have to buy the feed and everything. So they said that it's not profitable. It's not profitable to keep this cow anymore. So let's sell it. Divided the money. Okay, so everybody got a little bit money. So that's what socialism. Everybody. The capitalist, what he had, he sold 1 cow and bought a bull. So the number of, began to increase, and it became 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Very soon he had a dairy farm. So he employed 2 people. They get the salary. Okay, the cows increased, dairy farm became bigger and bigger. So more employees came. Then he started a milk plant there, and so more employees there, and a milk powder plant here, more employees there, cheese plant there, more employees there, a butter unit there, more employees there. So then he started another unit somewhere else, and more people. So some of these employees who worked there, they learned the art. So they also started. So what happened? The lot of business came, and everybody got a job. Community, everybody has a decent job. Everybody that's what capitalism is. And truly that is what capitalism is. So what's the best, communism or socialism or capitalism? As an economicism, definitely that one. But other than that one, I don't like communism because it's totalitarian state. They don't respect fundamental rights, religious rights and all those things. So communism is gone. A Christian can never be a communist. But it's sad that there are communists among Christians. How can they be a Christian and a communist? Because for the communist there is no fundamental right. Christian always wants fundamental rights. Communism does not respect religion. It's the opium of the people, right? A Christian is a religious man. How can he? So the 2 systems cannot go. So, it's like what they call, they have a cereal in America called grape nuts. It doesn't have any grape nor nuts in it. It's called grape nuts. What it is, some grains and something. I don't know even why they called it grape nuts, but that's the name of it. So communism is, a communist Christian is a grape nut. He is neither a communist nor a Christian. It's almost a contradiction, self-contradiction. So it cannot be. So socialism, yes, in some ways socialism is good because it allows private economy as well as social economy. So both. But then the problem is usually the society swallows the individual. That's what it is. Society swallows individual. But in India it is coming, the Muthoot people are growing. That's private economy. And there are social, the cooperative banks and all those banks, they are growing. And some of these cooperative farming, I don't know how they are doing, I don't know. They may be there, but private farming is there. So these things are there. There are some private cashew factories and there are some cooperative cashew factories. Both are growing and it's good there. So socialism to some extent will. But I personally think that capitalism as such a form of economy, I may prefer, though I'm not a capitalist because I don't have capital. I don't have... you have to have capital to be a capitalist. Without a capital, what capitalist you are? So, I cannot call myself a capitalist, though my economic system better fit that. But I like laissez-faire. That's what I like more. I believe in minimum government, with the minimum government controlling.
Is there any country that's practicing this?
There are countries where minimum government is there. Some of the, for example, Sweden and some of those countries, I believe, I have not studied them extensively, so I cannot say authoritatively. There are minimum government interference. People can do anything they want, basically, they can. But the thing is, because man is a sinner, people can do anything they want means any
nonsense.
Yeah, any nonsense, that's the way it is. But those countries even permit foreigners, anybody can come and deposit money in their bank, Swiss banks, all those things, So there are many countries like that, and there are a lot of freedom in New Zealand and Scotland and all those countries which are basically Protestant countries. There is a lot more freedom, very less interference of the government. Government just basically deals with the tax laws and other government legal matters, but people can do. You can do your farming if you want. If you don't want to farm your land, that's fine, Yes, the government interference will be mainly. But the government, in the minimum government, that's what I believe. The tax money, people are exhorted to give money, support the government with the money and all. Because even though I said that the minimum government is the best, I think the taxation must be in the department of government, and the tax money must be used to help the poor and the needy, the sick. Even roads and hospitals and schools and all could be done privately. Government doesn't have it. Some of those private roads are much better, L&T roads and few roads. The people should be allowed to take, toll. How nicely they maintain than the government roads. Why can't they do it? There will be competition. There will be parallel highways. Why you pay 20 rupees for every 5 kilometers here, there may be 10 rupees for every 5 kilometers. The business people, they have money. So instead of the land mafia grabbing all the land and raising apartments and all these things, some of the land mafia may be investing the 20,000 crore rupee they have in the roads and other infrastructure, But here nobody can make private roads, no private railways. In America, railway is private, post office is private. What's wrong with it? Everything is functioning smoothly. Much better than what's, we are doing it here. Only police and military and the justice system and a few others. Government doesn't need to start even schools and colleges. The private will do. Government has to give some guidelines, minimum guidelines. Not everybody could, so you say that in a country like India, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, the so-called people, they say that 30% or 20% of the seats must be reserved for those people. The tax money will pay, underwrite their education until certain times, Yeah. So those sort of things the government could do. This is now maximum governance. You cannot do anything. You cannot do anything, it's all. Government control is there. Even what you raise up a dog in your home, and if you don't want the dog, you cannot get rid of that dog. My neighbor had a dog which had cancer, it was dying, and the owner didn't want it to suffer, so went to the veterinary doctor and asked, can give some medicine where I can put the dog to sleep. Said, we cannot, it's against the law. It's against the law. The government come to know that I will lose my job. I may have to go to jail.
Euthanasia.
But euthanasia you could do. You can kill people, no problem. only animals have rights. Now animals have fundamental rights and human beings don't have any more fundamental rights. That's the sort of thing. So, in a country like this, minimum government, there are maximum government. Why should we have tax? There should be no income tax, no sale tax, nothing of these things. It can all be abolished. All that we need is money exchange tax. MET, I call it. Every time the state bank goes to the reserve bank and gets 200 crores of money, they have to pay tax to the reserve bank, whatever government fix. For every rupee, 10 paise tax. So if they get 100 crores, they get only 90 crores in hand. Right? From the state bank, the other banks will come and get money. The state bank will take tax, recollect it. So they may take it 11% because they are going and handling expenses. So when individuals go to these banks to deposit money or take money, they will pay a tax. That will be 12%. So they get it. Then no tax. You buy, you sell, whatever you do. You sell a property for 20 lakhs, government will take the money tax, money exchange tax, 12%. No other tax. Only the registration duty, paper valuation, whatever may be. Why all these income tax people, sale tax people, and all these people, they are all amassing money. The only thing we need is when things come from outside, we have the octroi or we have the customs and all. That will be a customs department there. I think it could be done. It need to be worked out a little. But then there is not very much, of course, black money, yes. Anybody's possession, 10 lakhs rupees came, they have to have the receipt given, they have paid tax on the amount. So where is the tax receipt? Here it is. You paid the tax. It's your money, you do whatever you want. Now these multiple taxes, you paid your income tax, with the rest of the money you go and buy some steel, tax. You build a home, tax. So how many times you pay tax? Already the money is taxed. You paid your tax. Then whatever items you bought to build the house, for every item you paid tax, 15%, 20% VAT and all these things. Then you build the house, there is tax on it, house tax, so many other tax. So in another sense, what you count it up, government gets back about 60%, 70% of all your money, this way and that way. This is ridiculous. You are working and earning the money and everything. So actually government is not benefited by all this money, that's the thing. Because it's corruption, it's going this hand, that hand and all. I think it should be stopped. A laissez-faire government, laissez-faire government is the best government. I think, I'm a preacher, so I'm not a politician, though in my blood there is politics, Yes. In my family also there are plenty of politicians, MLAs and all we had, and now we don't have any. But the politics is, blood is there, I think, my job is not there, but someday, when I get a chance I speak about it, why all these officials amassing money? Being at education institutions, nice institutions, teachers, professors and all that, nice hospitals, private hospitals. How many we have? The best hospitals in India are all private hospitals. Where it is Vellore or where it is Apollo, where so many there are. Why should government worry about all these things? There is strikes always in those hospitals. Private hospitals never a strike. Vellore never had a strike. Apollo never had a strike. Yeah. Why should government worry about it?
What about the cost of this? Private hospitals are much more than government hospitals.
But it all comes down when there is competition. There is no competition, that's why, this is competition. All the government hospitals are meant for the poor. That's why what government will do with this money they get a lot of money. Every time money exchanges, they are getting money, they are getting money. So all what will do? They will pay some of the bills of the poor people. Our government can make laws which say that, okay, 10% of all the patients must be free treatment for the poor. So government will give them a card for the poor people. They present the card, that means automatically the bill will be paid by the government. The same treatment will be available. Nobody have to interfere in anything, government can work it out. Now what happened? Look, the what they call it, the low income tax, what they call those people? BPL, below poverty level. Who are on the BPL? There are some MLAs and some MPs maybe on BPL. I had a relation in my family, he was an MLA before. When the emergency came, he had 18 ration cards. He was the richest man in our place. Thousands of acres of rubber estate and all. Why should he have 18 ration cards? It was Scott, that time actually. So he was on the Janata Party, he was against Indra, and also they finally said, well, do one thing, come to the Indra Party, we will. So he joined the Indra Party. He also. You only need one. You need one card which tells in the schools also, every private college, schools must have 10 or 20% of free. That government will pay, it's not free. Government will pay for them with the tax money. So any student goes there, they give the card, okay, admit it. If he deserves, admit it. So government can run smoothly, about all these things. It's not that we cannot run it, but corruption will come down. Corruption will come down. Less government also. Government will not be the major employer. Now in India, who is the major employer? Government. In Kerala, I don't know about Kerala, 80% or 85% of the income is given only for paying salary and pension. So where is the money for national construction? It all from the World Bank, from the other bank, from this bank. Because what India, Kerala gets, it's all given away. So now government, of course, stopped the pension scheme. Now no more pension. Okay. So what happens? Nothing will happen. People will live. Nothing is going to happen. People will live. They will invest their money. Contribute to pension. Okay, that's fine. You put your own money, you get it. Now so many mutual funds and others are bank and coming up with what, the old age, the insurance system and all, they have all, okay, you put a lump sum this much, you get after this age so much, or you put monthly, you get, this is all the pension systems. In another sense, people will care for their own needs. There is a section always, the Lord said, the poor you always have. Those poor you always have to be cared by the government. That I agree. The government should not be caring for the rich and the affluent. But today government is caring for the rich and the affluent. This reservation system, all the Muslims have reservations and certain other people have reservations, where they are billionaires or millionaires they have. Why should government give? Is religion a ground for reservation? Economy should be a ground for, if that's somebody is very poor, well, he should be helped, whatever religion he is. So the best system definitely is the laissez-faire system, and I think the tax system all has to be revamped, completely. So government should remain, less governance. It should remain an institution of basically justice. Government should never be an institution of charity. Let individuals and churches do the charity. Government should not decide the family size. The government should not say where your educated children should go, what courses they can take. No, I must have the freedom to decide what school my children go and what course. And government should not be telling me. Everybody must have, Government can take reasonable, guidelines can make, but that is. So the problem with the political system is that every day they are taking away more and more power from people and more interference in lives. Governments are a monster today. Governments are a monster today. It should not be a monster. It should never be a monster. So coming back to what system you will recommend. That's you will be democracy is the ideal, I admit, but is democracy the ideal? Our churches are not functioning on the basis of democracy. Our churches are functioning on democracy only when it comes to the non-spiritual matters. Yes, the people contribute